say, look at this, or look what I read in the paper, or listen to this new song, or he had a wide range of interests. He was very creative. In the house, some of those framed on the wall are things that he painted. And I miss him terribly. He was my rock. I couldn't have done 21 years at the fire department without him. And still, as I come home here at night, I still expect him to be here because he always was. And if I wanted to fix a place for the cats to play outside, he and CJ just, okay, we'll build you a cat playhouse, Elizabeth. And he, I said, Nick and his boys need a pond, and Nick and Lisa and the boys need a pond, okay. Right? Bookie needs help moving, okay, CJ, come on, let's book up the trailer, let's go. And that deep voice he had such, I always told him he should have been a radio announcer or something. When things would happen at work, I'd call him and hear that deep rumbling voice. I'd say, I just need to hear a friendly voice, and he understood, and he'd just listen, and then a lot of times give me a lot of good advice. Well, thank you for watching those races with him. They were long. Those were long races. And
that was my NASCAR buddy.
I just want to thank Mike.
Showing up after this storm like he did, CJ, and it's hard. Yeah, it is hard. And I had written down sayings that Mike used to say, and I used to tell him, well, I learned it from him, you need some new material. But then I'd say it back to him. But he used to say the same funny things over and over. And he used to be like the Pied Piper. I mean, everybody loved him. Well, I think we should all the kids, everybody understands. I think all you guys down to mine who was little and got to know Mike as a little boy, and you all, he did everything to make things fun for the kids and all the birthday parties, and I know you all will remember him for that. What I felt about Mike was that he was a real man's man. He loved animals and horses, and he was a hell of a backhoe operator, fondly known as Backhoe Mike, from Miami to Homestead. He created beautiful ponds for people and the horses on the farm. And I just want to say thank you to Mike and Elizabeth and all his family on behalf of my kids, Daniel and Catherine Thompson, and all the fun that you made for them when they visited Sunset Farm when they were younger, and for continuing that for our more recent little additions to the Truby clan. Of course, you all know who you are, Mitchell, Griffin, Hudson, and Adina. He had some very, very true dear friends, as we know, CJ, Skip. And when I mentioned it just out and about, you know me, I start talking to people, and somehow or other we all tie together here in Miami. More people than I ever knew Mike Williams, knew the family, and we're just so sad to hear it. The Saunders were, oh gee, really, we loved Mike. So he's been here now waiting a long time, but he probably had all kinds of things he needed to take care of. And sometimes people need to stay after they pass from us, but they're still with us, and finish things that maybe they want to finish. And now he's going to be an angel today, and he's going to go and be with his brother. So we'll all miss him. And he will be missed apparently by many, many people, much more than I think even you knew. Yeah. Well, he was Tammy Trevette's cousin, actually. Yeah. Mike's dad and Tammy and Bonnie Curtis and Adam's mother were brother and sister.
so we knew little Mike and Victor, and John was taller than them, even though he was like 10 years younger than his older brothers. They were these little wild boys running around the Corvettes on the weekends.
I still remember the first day I met Mike. He was down on my uncle's farm, cleaning a piece of property.
All right.
Sitting there doing a bobcat, putting in the dumpster. I pulled on a tractor, walk over to him and said, "Hey, do you need help? Hey, you mind cleaning around up the dumpster for me?" Me and him brought a couple beers out, and then me and him, just clicked. He goes, "Oh, I got some extra work. Here's my number. Call me." And then me and Mike.
I didn't know that's when you met.
That's the first day I met him. He was on my uncle's farm.
I think my son was the guinea pig for
No.
trying new
No,
stuff.
but Mike explained it. He said if they will learn how to drive a go-kart, a golf cart, I mean, then they'll be better car drivers. That's
He
worked out
was-
well,
that's
right?
I wasn't 18, I was 16.
Like I said.
Mike, we all went to South Beach, or
Yeah.
cruising the beach, putting back drinks.
Oh, what a
I think it was the
guy.
first time I went to South Beach and got drunk. I do it a lot more after that. And Mike knew just how to do just about anything related to handyman work. And then I crashed the Mustang and we put that thing back together, bumper, hood, piece by piece.
Katie took Katie camping.
Unreal.
You took Katie and Caitlin and a horse and a pony camping there in Penny Thompson Park.
We also watched
Ah.
Mike break his collarbone right in front of
Oh,
his face.
that's right. You were here.
That was fun.
You climbed up to
He was pulling himself
the
up.
hayloft, right?
With the
He
hayloft.
was so strong.
He was, and then boom. Alright.
Yep.
Alright, so
That he was, in the very beginning, that he was insisting on eating by himself and being right-handed. He was amazingly doing it with his left hand, and Elizabeth said that's because of the way he could work that thing
Right.
with both hands. It made him able to, because he was not going to, let that get him down.
I still remember that phone call he gave me. Called me up and goes, "CJ, guess what?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Some bobcat just burned up." I said, "Are you all right?" "The hell was a bobcat? Are you all right?" He goes, "Yeah, man, I got off in time."
We knew of Mike because we knew of his dad and the machine operator, the
Right,
company
they had
that he
this
ran.
business.
And Mike, like Boogie said, backhoe Mike definitely had clout as a backhoe driver.
Oh, yeah.
When anybody that works in machinery or anything from, like they said, Homestead to Miami, you knew Mike Williams. And he always told me this story. He told it a few times, but I would always get him to tell other people. When he was about 13 or 14, people would go out to his dad's place to get a job being an operator. And if his dad hired them, his dad would say, "Mike, take the guy out there and teach him how to drive a backhoe." And Mike was 14. He was teaching these 20-year-olds, these 30-year-olds how to operate a backhoe. And Mike said, the way we teach them is we'd say, "Write your name in the dirt with that backhoe."
Really?
And so very sensitively. And I say that because that is one of the, like I said, being a backhoe driver gave Mike Williams major clout in this area. And then later on, he was so nice to kids. I always heard Daniel talking about Uncle Mike, and Daniel called him Uncle Mike. When Mitchell and Griffin came along, he dug Fred's pond. He went over and worked on Chris and Cornelia's house, and that was the same time he did our pond.
Right.
And he didn't just dig our pond. He got Mitchell up in his lap and got Mitchell to dig the pond a little bit. He got Griffin up in his lap and got Griffin to dig.
Here we go.
Hey, Mitchell! That's like and when he was digging my pond, he was doing something weird in the corner, And he was like, I'm going to make a little place like if you have turtles. I guess he thought my pond was going to be like this. If turtles, they can hide under there. And I'm trying to tell the story like that because it was like Mike was, you know, his clout as a machine operator, but his gentleness and kindness the whole time, helping kids, helping people, and even worried about little animals. And we all know Elizabeth so well, and Elizabeth is definitely a person that wants gentleness around her. I mean, anybody that knows Elizabeth since she was a little girl, she didn't want the loudmouths, she didn't want the smart Alecs, the a-holes, any of those people, and Mike was none of those. He was, you know, that backhoe gave him the confidence to fix anything. He'd fix anything.
A tree and a hedge. He had only this much room, and he dug that whole thing, and it's beautiful. He dug it. I don't know how he did that.
I know.
Yeah.
That is talent.
He was creative. He would think of a way to do things.
And always with that kindness.
He had an intellectual side too, and a very political opinion. So we would come, Danny and I would come over, and with Elizabeth and Mike and I would stand in the pool over there in the summer, and we would be talking politics because it was the time when Obama was running, and he was definitely liberal-minded, and we were talking about that, and he was very informed about everything in politics too.
I just want to thank Mike and you for all your hospitality for all these years that we came here. He's had such great business coming out here. And Mike was certainly a big part of that. You know, both of you always made us feel so welcome here. And it's always a pleasure to come out here.
Look at all this stuff that's going to be here long after all of us are gone. Stuff that he had a big part of. Careful.
Rest in peace, Marlboro Man.
Mikey, you might get home, buddy. He's home, buddy.
I'm very sorry I didn't bring a little sketch that I still have. It sat on my piano for a long time, and it's not because I had it in a folder to come here, and I've had it for, this past year. And I was on the phone with Elizabeth, and I was like, oh, I want to build a shed, and you guys all know my shed in my backyard. Before the pond.
Before the sheds.
Yeah, this was the shed. I want to build a shed, but I don't know, it's kind of got like a front porch, and it's kind of got like the roof hangs over the front porch sideways. I don't know. And Elizabeth comes up on a little piece of paper that Mike had sketched. And to me, it's like art, because it's exactly, it's it's a three-dimensional view of exactly what I was envisioning, and our shed looks just like it. And it's just so cool. It's just a little stick
right there with pencil.
Right there with pencil.
You did the prototype to all the shed projects?
It's going and it starts to just walk around. You twist. Not holding it all. Until you get it all nice and steady, then it'll stay right there. But you start moving it, it just goes.
Wow.
You got to ask yourself, right?